Robin and
Hey,
Yarrow. Hi, Greg. Yarrow tripped in the middle of the night last night and either broke or badly sprained her toe.
ooh,
And there was blood, and
okay.
it was a drama. And sh I put Taggets and the Tamu oil, whatever that is,
Mhm.
on it, and it really helped a lot.
Good, good, good.
Crazy helped, like crazy helped a lot. Is there anything else you would
Yeah.
recommend,
So you could do a couple of things. First off, how much pain is she in?
Yarrow? How much pain?
Hi, Craig. It aches.
Right now it aches. It's all
Aches.
swollen, and she can't
Okay.
move it.
Yeah. So couple of things, and let's just try to deal with things that you have on hand. So first off, do you have any black cumin at all?
I don't think that's one of the things I've gotten. I think it's on my
Okay.
list.
Okay. Well, that's something you could also pick up at a local health food store. They'll call it black seed. And take like 3 or 4 capsules of that a day. That I hope to reduce the inflammation quite substantially, and just helps the healing process happen quicker. And then if you have some galbanum,
I do. I
yeah,
do.
a couple of drops in water. It doesn't even have to be that much water or juice or something, and do like 2 or 3 drops, like maybe twice a day, and that
Okay.
will really help reduce the pain, which also accelerates the healing process. Then topically, I would use either helichrysum, like just directly on the site, or hyssop. Hyssop would be another choice that you could use that would help reduce the pain and like when you have a bruise or you've jammed something like that, you're wanting that old blood and the old like clots and things to break up and leave that area. And the more it does that, the faster it feels better, and it heals at a faster rate. So you could put helichrysum on it, neat, or hyssop,
Okay.
neat. If you don't have either one of those,
I have both. I have both of those.
okay,
Yeah.
do helichrysum then.
Okay.
Helichrysum would be my first choice.
Okay.
And then you can do it with hyssop, or you can do it with tarragon. Even
Okay.
though it's been a little bit, I'd take some long, slow, deep breaths with the tarragon just to calm the body down. And tarragon also is an antispasmodic, and so it will help to reduce like any sort of muscle strain or sprain that happened in that area. And so you can put it in like the tamanu oil, several drops of the tarragon,
Yeah.
and rub it not necessarily on the toe where it's broken, but like go above it, like on the foot and along the shin and the calf. The shin is usually where you have to like pay more attention to than the calf. It's more susceptible to the sprains and strains with something like this. And so if you don't have the tarragon,
I do. I have
okay,
that.
good. I was going to say for rubbing on the body, you could also use marjoram, but since you already got the tarragon out, I would do that. And with all of that, it should heal pretty quickly. If
Wow.
you do need to stabilize the toe a little bit, I mean, a lot of times what the doctor will do is they'll just take like that medical tape, and
Uh-huh.
they'll tape it to the toe next to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you take
Yep.
2 toes together, and
Mhm.
that will stabilize it. So if it's like a fracture, or it's hard to like move, it's they usually don't cast a toe unless it's really, really badly broken, and
Right.
they are having to do like procedure for it or something. But usually like a fracture or a bad sprain, a lot of times they won't do anything, but if they do something, they'll just usually tape the 2 toes together.
Okay. Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome. Keep us posted on that and let us know how
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Great. Thanks so much, Greg.
you're so welcome. Like maybe in about 48 hours, give me an update. We want to see a reduction in size in the swelling, and we want to see that the color is changing. It's starting to already like dissipate the darkened color if it's darkened, or sometimes it will start to turn a little bit like greenish.
Okay.
That's also a good sign. You know, like the blood's breaking up, so it goes from like dark to like kind of a greener kind of color. It's like
Okay.
more yellow, I guess, but and then pain reduction, like make sure that there's some pain reduction. And so, you know, when you lay down, you can elevate the foot a little bit. You know, with swelling, you can always ice it and do things like that. It's
Right.
hard to do compression on a toe. I mean,
Yeah.
you can put some tape on it, but usually just taping the two toes together is substantial enough.
Okay.
You know, I've broken a few toes, and a lot of times I don't even tape the toes together, but I'll do all those other things. And I mean, it's literally like in 24 to 48 hours, I forgot that it even happened.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to do this as I'm listening to you. I'm going to be tending to her.
Perfect. Yeah, sorry that happened. Yeah, toes are really susceptible. Boy, they get, you know, you drop things on them, you stub them, you know, somebody steps on them. Yeah. I actually had a car run over my foot one time, and I thought, oh God, I probably broke every bone in my foot, and nothing happened. Like, it was the weirdest thing, but I was like, you know, what part of your body could get run over by a car and like nothing happened? Like, foot's about the only thing. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I did see hands raised.
Yeah,
and
go ahead and
Chris,
fire away
your
with
hand
questions.
had been
Yeah.
raised.
Hey Craig, this is Chris.
Hey,
Thank you again
Chris.
for being here this weekend.
Yeah,
Such an
we love being
awesome
there.
class.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted
Very,
to
very
share-
different than everything else. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to share with everyone, you know how Jake was relaying his story about bumping himself in the bathroom door after the first class. I jammed my finger in the bathroom door and it started to turn all black right away. So I put helichrysum on it and now it's normal. There's no
Yeah.
really any
Helichrysum,
black fluid.
hyssop will do it, but helichrysum does it faster. Like, helichrysum works so flipping fast about normalizing the discoloration. And so, you know, there's been times where I've had somebody get an injury, and we put helichrysum on the wound site immediately, but they still had to go to the doctor to get evaluated. And the doctor would say, well, it's not very serious because it's not even bruising, you know, but it was usually a kind of a serious injury. And so I've even used that topically to treat hematomas, you know, where there's like a big, like raised area where there's an injury site. And the other thing that we don't think about using helichrysum for is I use it to treat boils. Like when people get boils, and they, you know, they usually have to lance them, which, you know, means open them up to drain them a little bit. Like within 24 hours, it totally changes the boils on a person quite substantially. And so, you know, usually we do some blood purification later, but in the crisis of the boil itself, it works quite well. Sometimes there's different kinds of boils. There's some of the kids with Down syndrome get these really like weird boils that will be like on the surface, but they almost have like a root and they'll go deeper. And we have used helichrysum to treat those quite substantially. The only drawback was that not every child tolerated the smell very well. But if they could tolerate the smell, it usually treated it relatively good. But when you see like boils happening like more often than just every once in a while, then you got to do something to clean up the blood itself. Usually I would put them on burdock root and a bunch of chlorophyll. And between the two things, it usually would wipe the boils out. Thanks, Heather.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg.
You're so welcome.
And
Yeah.
by the way, those brainwave oils, gosh, out of this world. I sent a
Yeah.
picture to Sam yesterday. Of, the gals here, I put together this piece of furniture under an hour after doing that protocol. It's like my brain was on, like,
Yeah. Makes your
Overall.
brain stronger, sharper, fights off brain fatigue better. It makes it function almost in ways that's not, like in ways you're not almost like normal. It's not normal to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
yeah, it's a fascinating subject, the whole brainwave thing.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, and thanks for hanging out this weekend.
Thank you too.
Yeah. You know, it's an odd time, so being able to still go places and have some people show up is always nice to have the, I love doing the Zooms, but at the same time, having interactions with people, it's nice. It's a little weird always just looking at the back of a iPad.
We're so thrilled to have you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jenny?
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Greg. I just wanted to share what Chris was talking about too. As far as the brain, I really felt like my brain got flossed over the weekend.
Yeah,
And I woke up and I woke up this morning with this very vivid dream, and I typically don't have dreams that I actually can recall. So this is like unusual for me, but it was wildly vivid where I thought, is this the reality or the dream was a reality? It was that clear. So I'm wondering if that had something to do with it.
Yeah, that's the
dream
brainwave stuff.
brainwave.
I mean, it's really, I mean, you can start to see why, like, and we're just kind of starting to tap into it. We're not really going gung ho. And you can already see like how profound just the little bits that we've done, what it's like, and the dream activity can be quite substantial, and yeah, your brain just starts functioning different. Parts of your brain that you're not using, which is usually more like kind of right side activity, it starts to really kind of play in, and sometimes it's a little bit I don't know, it's almost like it takes you a little while to get used to it, because it's like you almost have no reference for what's happening. And it's kind of what you're shooting for, like when you're doing meditation, but it's hard to even do it with meditation. And so, they make these devices and things where you can kind of play with trying to change and manipulate your brainwave, but it's really hard to do it. We used to try to do it through manipulation and everything, like putting people in postures and things like that, and having them hold the posture for long periods of time. I suspect that some of the things that are done in yoga probably affects some brain waves, but eventually both Plant Prana and Astara, we are going to do a very involved study of brain waves, but we're having to do a little recon on it and a little fundraising to kind of pull the money together for the machinery and things. And so brainwaves are definitely going to be a thing we're going to be talking about for a while. So
Yeah, it was really great.
by the way, how was your interaction with your special guest at work today?
Monday.
Oh, how did that go?
It was very inspiring.
Good.
And
Glad
it was
to hear.
nothing about, it was more about leadership and
Yeah.
inspiration. And it was really neat to have that, just like a direct touch point to the interaction.
Yeah.
It's very, very inspiring. I think it left, on top of the brainwaves, it left me feeling more clarity on purpose. So it was like, the synchronicity of working internally and then also having something very inspiring to connect with externally was really profound. So I'm really grateful for
Oh,
that.
good. I know we're kind of talking in code a little bit, but since we're talking in code, given who you used to work for, did you see who resigned today? Or
Yes,
is
I
stepping down?
did. Yes,
Yeah,
I did. I'm not surprised.
Neither am I.
He had been working on a succession plan for a while. It just
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
really talked about. But it hasn't impacted the stock at all. And
No,
I don't
didn't think
anticipate
it
it will. Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was, thank you for the class, and it was just amazing.
Yeah. So any other questions or?
Cindy?
Hey, Cindy.
Hey, just a reflection from this weekend was
Mhm.
that, and I think it's because I had to work and I missed part of it. I had the most horrible headache from Sunday night till this, to like partially today. And
Really?
yeah, I think it was probably because I couldn't participate regularly or do the whole protocol both days.
Okay, after we're done tonight and everything, I have a meeting after this. So
Yeah.
after I'm done with that meeting, I'll look at it and I'll see what was up. 'Cause
And it could have just been stress from working.
yeah, but I'm curious. Like I
Yeah,
like.
I am too.
Yeah.
And then my other question is, do you have an oil that or that kind of replicates what cucumber or aloe vera can do? Because I'm sort of experimenting with cucumber and seaweed. And it's more of a silica that cucumber has.
Right. Let me look into it. Like there is actually an aloe vera oil that's not an essential oil, it's a base oil, and it's
Yeah.
made from the outside of the leaves rather than the inside. I haven't seen it for a very long time, but let me go through and see if I even have some, and if not, I'll go see if I can see what vendor I got it from. It's a great topical massage oil, but you don't use it all by itself. It's something you mix in with other things.
Yeah, it might be too oily to mix in with seaweed, but
That's true.
I was just I just been playing with mixing the pulp of those things together, and they're
Right.
refreshing.
Let me think about it. Let me think about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are good experiments.
Yeah.
And then we have a handful of questions here in the
Yeah,
chat.
fire away in the
What would you use to get rid of warts?
warts. You could use a couple of things. Kind of a slow way is to use lemon oil. You can put it directly on the spot, but the quicker, faster way is Thuja or Thuya. I usually say Thuja, but other people say it differently. But Thuja works really good for warts. And so you need to put it on daily, even a couple of times a day. And what starts to happen is the wart kind of starts to break down. Sometimes you kind of need to like scrub it with like maybe a rough like washcloth, to kind of keep like scraping some of the skin off, but it will reduce it. Now, if you're dealing with something like a plantar wart, which is on the bottom of the foot, that's a little bit harder because the wart is also a lot of times turned inward rather than sticking out. And so with that, what I would do is I would get one of those like round Band-Aids or make like a little crisscross with two Band-Aids, just so that you can kind of keep it in place, and soak the gauze part with the Thuja, and then put it on the spot. And you'll have to do it every day, but it does work. I had been exposed to these solvents when I was young, and I was working in bicycle shops, and they didn't really provide us with gloves and things to work with these solvents. And one of the byproducts of it is, you would not immediately, but you would start getting these warts on your hands. And so over the years, I would try all different kinds of things. And the thing that really made them go away and stop, all of them but one, was the thuja. I tried all the things from the drugstore, and they'd make them go away a little bit. I'd get them burned off, but they would come back. And thuja made them go away. And, once it would happen, they would keep coming for years and years and years. It's like they didn't stop it. It's always the same spots. And there's only one that I had to literally had to have cut out. It was, even the doctor said, he goes, "This is the most obnoxious one I think I've ever seen." And thuja, that was the only one that thuja didn't work on. And so, he had burned it many times. I'd done thuja. We got it to go down, but it would never go away completely. Like when I say go away, I mean like goes away and doesn't come back. Like that's what you're shooting for. And so, yeah, thuja and tea tree also work for skin tags. Those little things, they're not quite moles, but they're those little things that kind of pop up and they'll kind of get a little bit bigger, and they'll turn colors a little bit. You should always get things that turn colors looked at, but skin tags most people know what a skin tag is. If you apply thuja to it daily, usually within about 2 to 3 weeks, it will just fall off. They dry them up and they fall off. And there's people who will try to say you need to detox more, you need to do this, but when you talk to the doctors and everything, you're just genetically predisposed to it. Like some people's genetics, you just are prone to the skin tags and some aren't. So if you're prone to them, tea tree and or thuja, or you can mix it together, you apply it directly neat, just a little tiny bit. You could even put it on a Q-tip and apply it to the spot. It will make them go away. And so.
Someone said, "I'm still feeling spacey from the weekend."
Yeah.
I wonder what you have to say about IBS. I have a lot of clients who are struggling with IBS, obesity, and emotional regulation.
So all three of those are completely different problems. Like those are all, is there like a question you have, or, because that could take like a whole weekend to talk about. So like, is there quick questions you want, or what are you asking there?
The first one was IBS. So
IBS, and you're just trying to manage it. Like what's the exact question you have about it?
And you can unmute or you can type in.
I'm wondering if there is a connection, because it seems to be this cluster of these symptoms: the obesity, the emotional regulation, the IBS.
It's possible, but irritable bowel syndrome is a lot of times poorly functioning nerves in the gut, which could also contribute to physiological emotions and physiological thought processes. The weight could also be something of a byproduct of that. That could also be hormonal. That could actually just be poor digestion, poor assimilation. Also could just be water retention that's built up over a period of time. And so with that, the thing that I would do with IBS is usually with IBS, even if there's other factors, is I start with treating the gut directly for strengthening, stimulating the nerves. So that is the ANS support, which is tarragon. I use rosemary Provence, but just regular rosemary and anise or anise, however you want to say it. And that helps to strengthen the way the nerves fire in the gut. Because a lot of times what people are calling sensitivities or food allergies, things like that. It's poor nerve function to the gut. And so that can also manifest as vacillation between constipation and diarrhea. Now, I would take it a step further with IBS, and the essential oil wormwood is too strong to take internally, but you can put several drops of it in the hand and then use it as an ointment on the abdomen itself. Or you can get capsules of wormwood herb, which is okay to take internally because the essential oil is so much more potent that it would be like the equivalent of taking, a bottle of wormwood capsules. And so too strong. So usually I would have them start with like 2 or 3 capsules of the wormwood, just to help also soothe the nerves and the gut. One of the things that you could also do is, I think we did it last week in the study group, and we did it over the weekend in the Secret Fire class, is the component for the autonomic nervous system with the ANS support, or you could use the blend for higher consciousness and follow those 4 patterns. Because basically what you're doing is you're taking some of the tension out of the smooth muscle, which is your internal organs and your respiratory tract, and also the bladder and kidneys and things like that. And so we're going to kind of touch on that a little bit tonight, but we were going to do something different. But by going through and doing that, you start to improve the way things function, and you're also starting to reduce the tension in the gut, which sometimes makes the nerves work better and starts to allow for more movement in the digestive tract, which can improve digestion and assimilation. And then also it reduces anxiety. A lot of anxiety actually comes from smooth muscle contraction. And so be it in the respiratory tract or in the digestive tract. And so sometimes even pharmaceuticals are targeting the relaxation of smooth muscle to try to reduce anxiety. And so with going through and doing that, you'll probably notice that there's a shift in the emotional state sometimes. There's a little bit more involved way of doing it. As you go through and you do that, you could follow that four-step process that we did in the class over the weekend. And I want to say we did it last Tuesday. I could be wrong, or maybe it was a couple of Tuesdays ago. But after you do that, you would follow the same 4 steps, but you would use, there's an oil called Ravint Sara, Ravint Sara, because there's 2 oils that are named really close together. I didn't name them. That's there's a Ravint Sara and Ravint Sara, and it's the Ravint Sara is what you're looking for. And the thing that it does is it helps to basically harmonize the way that the cerebral spinal fluid impacts the nerves throughout the body. And so Dalmatian sage does it a little bit, but Ravint Sara is by far the big gun in that area. And so one of the things that I'll do is I'll have them, use the wormwood either topically or the herb capsules from the health food store that I have them take internally. So external if it's an oil, internal if it's capsules. And then I have them do that 4-step pattern with higher consciousness or the ANS support, and take a few drops of ANS support internally. And then I follow it through with a blend that we call Fortify, or you could just use Ravent Sara by itself. So the one with the T in it, Ravent Sara. And so when you go through and you do that, it really helps to smooth out the shift between fight, flight, and rest and repair. Like it smooths the shifting between the two nervous systems. And so that's what's happening is you have a dysfunction in rest and repair, which will manifest as diarrhea. And then you'll have a dysfunction in sympathetic function, which is fight, flight, where you then have constipation. And so you're wanting to kind of regulate the autonomic nervous system.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you start with that, sometimes some of the other issues will unwind a little bit. You know, even if it's high levels of cortisol or, you know, whatever it is, if you just start unwinding some of those things,
Yeah.
Some of that can change.
Yeah. Can I ask one other question?
Of course.
I witnessed a person do healings on warts, but I never heard what they said to the person. But the wart will be gone in a day.
Oh, well.
I didn't know if you've ever heard of anything like that.
I've seen it on like kind of little ones or minor ones or ones that are acute, but the ones that were chronic, I've never seen anything really fast happen. Yeah.
Well, I mean, within a day and a half at the most, but they were little. So I just wondered if you heard the words. No, me neither. Well, thank you.
So,
We have a few more questions.
yeah.
What does Greg recommend for rashes? I have developed a rash with swelling, itching, and inflammation on a crease in my elbow, forearm, and fingers. I have a rash on one finger that is so inflamed. It is raw and painful and has liquid stuff coming out. Ugh. It's been about a month now and it's not going away.
I'm going to need to ask questions, so.
You okay to
are
you okay to
unmute?
unmute yourself? You can type in, but unmuting might be a little faster. All right. Okay, maybe ask her a question. She's not unmuting, but maybe ask her.
Okay, so I take it the rash is colored, like so it's red, and is it raised? And does it have a like a white head or anything like that on top of it?
Let's see if she's able to. Yep. Okay.
Hello, Greg.
Hey, hey.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, this is Christina.
Hey,
Go ahead
Christine.
and repeat the question.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, so I take it as the rash is red, or is it discolored, or no?
It's discolored. It's not raised. Although that one finger that's really bad, it's raised. But you know what? I noticed that it happens after I do the materialization breath or any kind of variation. I would break out in rashes. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Okay. No, that's actually a helpful piece of information. Okay. So does it have white heads on it or anything like that?
No.
Okay. And the area is swelling, but and it's been going on for about a month. And so it's been going on for a month and it doesn't seem to be reducing.
No, it seems like it's getting worse.
Okay. And does the area feel hot?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So
and you know what I did? I looked at the etheric booklet, and I looked at the inflammation, and it says to take German chamomile or yarrow internally. So I did the German chamomile yesterday, And then I woke up last night really itching, like the back of my whole back, my like my spine and my upper back. It just woke me up. I don't know if that has to do with the class this weekend or if I'm sensitive to the oil, because I know
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sensitive to oil.
Yeah, I mean, you could be having some sort of an allergic reaction is one possibility. I mean, you do look like you have a bunch of tension in your gut. And sometimes what happens when you're doing the materialization is it can increase tension in the smooth muscle. And so, I'd like you to do something really simple, and let's just see if it has some sort of change. Now, are you getting any other kind of rashes anywhere else on your body other than the area that you just talked about? Like, are you getting hives or anything like that?
No, but I've noticed the last day or two, my whole body started itching, like the back of my knees and my legs and all that stuff, which is something new.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have like tarragon or anise?
I have tarragon.
Yeah. So I'd like you to just like do like some long, slow, deep breathing. I don't even want you to take it internal. Just take some long, slow, deep breathing and focus just on, don't even worry about energy centers. Do it on your respiratory tract, like, your sinuses and your lungs a little bit, and then go down into the digestive tract, like, just on different areas of your stomach and gut. Do that over the next, like, say 48 hours, like maybe a couple of times a day over the next couple days, and then shoot us an email at info@plantprana.
It's info@plantpranaoils.com.
Okay, info@plantpranaoils.com or the plantpranacalendar.com
At Gmail.
at gmail.com. We just wanted the email so that we can process and let's see what's going on, and let's get on top of that, because something's going on. Either you're having some sort of allergic reaction, or there's probably some sort of digestive upset, or there could be something going on with the maybe some liver function or something. And so let's just stay on top of it and get that regulated.
Okay. I've been doing a 10 Hearts meditation every day with that.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is, well, like with meditation, is sometimes like when the body is like detoxing or reacting to the meditation. I mean, it can cause rashes and stuff. I mean, I've had them a few times, but I would say like maybe just stop the meditation for just a few days so we can see what's going on and just get everything calmed down. But it should be a very temporary break in anything. Now, are you on any medications, or have you been exposed to anything, or been using any cleansers or anything like that happen?
No medications, no exposures. What was the third one that you said?
Let's see, no exposures, like using cleansers.
Nothing new. Nothing
medications.
New.
Any medications?
No medication.
No medication. Okay, so let's
I
try.
was on antibiotics for a little bit for some dental work, but that's already done. A couple weeks
ago. How long
ago
ago was that?
A couple weeks, I think, maybe a week or two.
But you were already having these rashes.
Yeah, you know what? I noticed it started after the Wisdom of the Heart class.
Okay.
So that was what, November, December?
Yeah. Okay, let's do what we're talking about now, and do it with the tarragon. Let's see what happens over 48 hours, and then email us and we'll make some adjustment.
Okay, thank you so much, Greg.
You're so welcome.
Hey, after the weekend class, I kept feeling waves of energy on my left brain. Is that normal? What was that?
Yeah,
about?
your brain can be shifting in all kinds of ways. So for me, it was more right brain, but for other people, it could be left brain, could be the backside of your brain, could be your forehead. I mean, you're shifting your body around or your brain around. And so it's not going to be uniform in the reaction. It's going to be different from person to person, but your brain is shifting around a bit.
Nice. Yarrow just wanted to let you know the galbanum feels like it's affecting your whole body with waves of
Yeah,
relaxation.
it should be calming the whole body down. Because even though you go like, well, I'm not really in pain, your body still is in like the pain crisis moment. You know what I mean? And so you start taking the galbanum and all of a sudden you just realize like, oh, I kind of feel better. And it might not even be that the pain is completely gone, but it's like it takes that weird pain tension out of your body.
I've had stubborn plantar fasciitis. Sounds like for a long time, everything's but surgery. Would the Taggets be the
Taggets can be helpful, but for plantar myofasciitis, we have a protocol that is kind of real specific for that. And what we usually do is we put a little bit of vetiver in between the toes, like the toe webs like this, right? You know, you're just taking a little bit of vetiver and just kind of rubbing it in like that. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, you're going to make a liniment of lemongrass and alcohol. You know, not water, it has to be alcohol. It could be vinegar, but vinegar or alcohol. And in that liniment, you're going to put about 20 drops of the essential oil per ounce of the alcohol, right? So you're making a pretty decently strong liniment. You can put it in a spray bottle or just, you know, an empty bottle. And then, you know, shake it up and you're going to rub it from your knee all the way down to the toes. You know, so you're going to rub your calf, your shin, your ankles, the top of your foot, the bottom of your foot. You're going to cover that whole area, right? Then you're going to let that dry for a little bit and then take about 6 to 8 drops of marjoram and put a little massage oil or the tamanu oil or some lotion and cover that same area, the calf, the shin, the ankle, the top of the foot, the bottom of the foot, with the ointment, right? You're gonna make the marjoram ointment, and then from there, you will take. You can do it with just vetiver, but I usually have people inhale bay laurel. If you don't have the bay laurel, you can just use the vetiver. Thuja also will work, and you just start taking long, slow, deep breaths with the bay laurel or the thuja, and keep your awareness on the lower leg, ankle, and foot area. You know, and so that last step is part of what's happening is you have inflammation in the fascia of the foot. And so anytime there's inflammation of the fascia, which is not muscle, it's the connective tissue, right? It's what wraps around the muscle and gives your leg shape and everything. So whenever there's inflammation in the fascia, the lymph nodes in that area start to shut down. So you get almost like an inflammatory crisis of sorts, right? So once you put on the lemongrass liniment, you're starting to reduce the inflammation in the fascia. Lemongrass is not anti-inflammatory by its nature, but it's anti-inflammatory for fascia, right? It's really super specific to fascia, right? So once you cover the whole leg and then you put the ointment on with the marjoram starts to unwind the muscle tension and the cramping that's happened in some of the muscle and helps it to be able to retain its ability to contract and relax, right? And so the bay laurel with the thuja or the bay laurel inhaling it is basically jump starting the lymph nodes in that area to help help to like further detoxify that area. And so sometimes in just a treatment or two, you'll find substantial relief with plantar myofasciitis. I've had several people who were going to have surgery for it. A couple of them were actually, one was a nurse, one was a doctor, and you know, it was like a single treatment or two actually changed it, and they never ended up having the surgery for it. And so it's starting to be a very common thing. The other thing that you can do, there are braces that you can buy online, but once you do this treatment, you usually don't need the brace. But when you sleep, you know, you're like, say this is the bottom of your foot, you need to keep your foot a little bit more flexed, like this, because when it straightens out, like if you're pointing your toe, that actually will aggravate the myofasciitis. And so the braces usually keep your foot in a position that's like this, like, you know, how you'd be standing like this, would keep it in that position. So if you're laying on your side, just try not to point your toes. But if you feel that it's something that is aggravating it, you can find very inexpensive braces that are specific for plantar myofasciitis on the internet, you know, probably on Amazon or something. And that can be helpful. But usually I just have them do the treatment, and it usually knocks it out most times.
Would using the fascial release oil do the same thing?
No, no, you have to follow the steps. Unfortunately, like the fascial release oil is for doing something different, and you're having to unwind what the condition is, you know. And so you have to do the thing with the oil, and you got to follow the order. Like you need to do the thing with the vetiver between the toes, because it relaxes the tissue and increases circulation, but not by increasing heat, right? So it reduces inflammation. Then the lemongrass reduces the inflammation in the fascia. And then the marjoram starts to unwind the contraction in the muscle tissue. And then the bay laurel and the thuja helps to unwind the lymph nodes. So none of that has anything to do with releasing fascia, right? So you're actually doing something completely different. And so just because the term fascia is used, it doesn't mean that the fascial release will do everything for fascia. It does something very specific. And so here you're trying to reduce inflammation in the fascia instead of trying to release it. The problem is when there's inflammation, it loses tone. So releasing it actually doesn't help it at all. It's that you have to reduce the inflammation. If you notice, like if you have plantar myofasciitis for a long period of time, your foot seems to seem like it's getting bigger, like your shoe sizes are changing, but it's because your arches are falling. Your fascia and muscle are losing tone. And so you have to reduce the inflammation, because that's actually what is happening.
And would helichrysum also work for toe calluses and corns? Toe calluses and corns is best treated with that oil Taget's. That is one of the best things that it's for. Helichrysum, little tiny bit, but Taget's works so much better. You know, put in a little bit of massage oil or lotion and rub it on those areas, and it will soften everything up quite a bit if you use it kind of daily. Yeah, that's the big thing that they use in Europe for a lot of things that are feet oriented. Is, you know, takes the tired achiness out of the feet. It reduces some of the pain in the feet, but it softens up corns and calluses and takes some of the pain out of the bunions and things like that. I mean, it doesn't always do it, but it does it most of the time. All right, I think that was it.
Okay, so we are going to kind of do like a variation of something that we kind of covered over the weekend and we had done in a week or two prior. So we're going to use, if you have a higher consciousness or if you have the ANS support, we're going to use those. If you don't, tarragon, anise or anise, however you want to say it. If you don't have any of those, a lesser choice would be rosemary. Okay, and so we're going to go through and we're going to use this in a way that's a little bit different than what we were doing over the weekend or weeks prior. But this is actually to diminish physiological thinking, which is the byproduct of physiological emotions, which is a byproduct of your body being triggered by something. So in a sense, it reduces triggered emotional, triggered thought processes from, emotional states. Okay, so pull out the oil that you're going to use that you have. This is not in any of the classes, so this would be something that's kind of different and unique. So it's very good for what we're doing here. And so begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your brain. Keep inhaling with your awareness on the brain. Move your awareness to the lungs. Now move your awareness down to the liver. It's on the right-hand side below the ribs. Move your awareness a little bit more to the midline, still slightly off to the right, but below the ribs. Go down to your kidneys. Up to your spleen, which is on the left-hand side below the ribs. Go down to your navel. Go an inch and a half below your navel. And go to the bottom of your tailbone. Just be still, be aware. Keep your eyes closed. Begin inhaling that same oil again. Your awareness is on the top of your head. Go to your forehead and the back of your head at the same time. Go to the area between your eyebrows, the ajna. Just be still, be aware. Just let everything go for a moment. Just be still. Begin inhaling again. Your awareness is on the center of your throat, the throat chakra. Down to your front heart. Down to your front solar plexus, which is below the ribs. Your awareness is on your navel. Up to your spleen on the left-hand side, below your ribs. Just be still, be aware, just let it go. Put your awareness on the back side of your navel, your main men. Your awareness to the sex chakra, where the sex organs are. The bottom of the tailbone, the basic chakra. Just be still, be aware. Again, you're inhaling. Your awareness is on your basic chakra, the bottom of your tailbone. up to your spleen on the left-hand side below the ribs. Down to your Ming Men, which is the back side of your navel. And the top of your head. Just be still, be aware. Just let go of everything. Begin inhaling again. Your awareness is on the soles of your feet. Move your awareness to the Ming Men, which is the back side of the navel. Move your awareness to the back heart. Move your awareness to the top of your head. Just be still. Put your awareness on your sex chakra. Move your awareness to the front heart. Your awareness is on your throat. The top of your head. Just be still, be aware, just let go. Put your awareness on the tailbone. Begin to inhale. Move your awareness to the front solar plexus, the area below your ribs. Move your awareness to the ajna, the area between your eyebrows. Move your awareness to the top of your head. Just be still, be aware. Just let go of everything. Okay, I'm going to have you pull out Dalmatian sage if you have it, Australian sage if you have it. If not, any of the sages, or if you have a Ravent Sara, one with a T in it.
Okay, sorry, I got Dalmatian sage, Australian sage,
Or just any of the sages.
any sage or rabbit.
Dalmatian or Australian are your first two choices though. Spike lavender would be another one, but none of the other lavenders, only spike. Okay. We're all good. Yeah. Okay. So begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your brain. Move your awareness to your lungs. Move your awareness to your liver, the right hand side below the ribs. Awareness is on your liver, the right hand side below the ribs. Move your awareness a little bit more to the midline, not quite all the way there, just off center a little bit. Still under the ribs. Long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness down to the kidneys. Up to your spleen on the left hand side below the ribs. Down to your navel. An inch and a half below your navel. The bottom of your tailbone. Just be still Begin inhaling with the same oil. Your awareness is on the crown. Maintain your awareness on the crown. Move your awareness to the forehead and back head at the same time. Your awareness is between the eyebrows, the ajna. Go to the throat, the center of the throat. Your awareness is on the center of the heart. Your awareness is on the center of the heart. your front solar plexus, the area below your ribs. Your navel. Your awareness is on your navel. Up to your spleen on the left-hand side below the ribs. Your low back, the backside of your navel. Sex chakra. And your basic, the bottom of the tailbone. Just be still, be aware, just let go. Again, begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your navel, or excuse me, your basic, the bottom of your tailbone. Your awareness is on your basic, the bottom of your tailbone. Move your awareness to the spleen on the left-hand side below the ribs. Your Mingmen, the backside of your navel. The top of your head, your crown. Just be still, be aware, keep your eyes closed. Okay, we're going to stop there. There's actually a bit more to do, but we can break it up and do it in the next session on next Tuesday. Or we can actually even talk about it on our free study group on Saturday. So we have a little bit of time. I thought I'd let you share some experiences. Think of some things that have been bothering you in the last week or two, month, year, 10 years. Think about it now and just think about good, bad, whatever. Just look at things, notice how your body feels, your emotions, your mind. Just evaluate yourself. What do you notice? Go ahead and unmute yourself. We have a few minutes. We have about 10 minutes before I need to go to my next meeting. So why don't you share
Hello.
experience?
Hello, I would like to share that my body was unwinding and releasing and twitching, and my eye would, one eye would, and so I thought, I don't know, we didn't say what was supposed to be happening, but my body, I was thinking it was all over my body. So I was thinking the fascia was releasing or something, because I couldn't quite get comfortable in little things where my ear and so it was unusual that different places were talking to me through the whole breathing pattern.
And how do you feel now?
I feel like I released stuff.
Yeah, you feel like something got released. Part of it is like, you know, we hear the idea of you know, it's kind of hard because I mean, sometimes when we're teaching things, it's this walking of a tightrope that is, you know, something that we're doing clinically, you know, kind of therapeutically, and then also having to do it in the thing that people reference in you know, holistic medicine or spiritual practices or, you know, allopathic medicine, you know, because each approaches things in different ways and different ideas, and sometimes things are being talked about that's the same thing but different terminology, and you know, we're going to try to over the next year or so, we're going to try to better explain some of the processes in a way that kind of pulls things together from all the different things. But like in a nutshell, let's say it like this. You know, when you hear like somebody say, or when I've been saying something like, your brain loves stories, right? Or when the light comes in, the drama stops. That's another thing that I say sometimes kind of often, you know, or we like drama. And in a way, it's not the psychological part of your brain or your mental processes or your emotions. It's actually the physiological component of here. It's not the emotions, it's actually the mind, like the physiological thought processes that are a byproduct of physiological emotions. And if you think about like, what is an archetype? You know, an archetype is basically a pattern of behavior that we've learned to kind of use for survival and for integration, fitting into a group, or overcoming our shortcomings. And it is a series that starts with physical needs that turns into a physical or a physiological emotion that turns into a physiological thought process. Right, so you're looking at kind of a byproduct of this, and you know, we want to move it from shadow to light. We want to move it from it being something that's in the unconscious to our conscious awareness, which really means you're moving it from the basic to the heart. That's basically all it really means if you boil it down. And so what we were addressing and dealing with, or at least starting to hear, was when I say your mind loves stories, it's not the psychological part of your mind, it's the part of your mind that is impacted by your physiology. You know, you physiological get pulled into these like thought patterns and dramas and stories and things, and then you go, well, it makes sense. And then psychologically you kind of go, well, you know, I can validate it this way or that way, and you kind of take it and run with it a little bit, right? And so part of what we're doing was we were changing a bit of how your physiology is reacting to the environment, and we were unwinding the physiological contributing factors to your mental faculties. You know, so it would be a byproduct of you touching the hot stove and then the emotion going, take your hand off, that's burning, right? From there starts to be, you've had a physiological emotion, which produces a thought, right? Anytime you have an emotion, it produces a thought. You have a thought, it produces an emotion. It goes both ways, right? So you have that emotional response, and then eventually there's a thought process. So you're kind of refining and improving your physiological thinking, and it's really letting go of these like stories that your physiology has made up. You know, it's really, it changes things because you know, we have a perfect example is abandonment. In nature, abandonment is a real thing. It is a very real thing. If you were out living in the woods and there was a group of people and you were on your own, it would be so much harder to survive than it would be as that group. But now in society, we have this more refined kind of approach to things that even if you don't fit in a group, you're really kind of okay. It might not be the most fun, but you're kind of okay. You're able to survive. But you know, you get into a situation and something changes and you have this sense of abandonment. It is still a physiological response, even though there's no threat anymore. You know, it's like, yeah, it'll be less fun, or it would be easier, or like I'd like it better if I fit in this group. But that drive was in your body, so like you didn't die. And now you're not going to die, you know, and now it's just like, yeah, it's just not as comfortable, you know. And then you have the fears where, hey, there's a real fear here. And then there's the fear where something feels like something bad's going to happen, but there's nothing really bad happening. It just feels that way, right? And then eventually it turns into a thought process. And so you're kind of undoing some of these thought processes so that you kind of are able to look at things and go, yeah, I have this feeling, but it doesn't make any sense. Like it really, you know, you're able to, in a way, the mind starts to become more potent than the body, because I mean, even Holy Master Joel Kuhl says, the body is so strong, it's hard for the mind to overcome it until a person becomes substantially developed. Right? And so what starts to happen is, it's not just that your mind is overriding the physiological impulses, but it is a form of transmutation, because it is the upper energy centers are taking control of the lower centers. And at first that starts to be a regulation of your lower natures. In the long run, it's what the Indians in the Hindu culture call a siddhi, like S-I-D-D-H-I, right? Siddhi. It's when a higher chakra starts to mix with the lower corresponding chakra and takes control of the lower corresponding chakra, all of a sudden you start to develop abilities that you didn't have before.
Gotcha. I can't wait to watch. Yeah, I can't. Usually when you're talking, I'm taking notes. So I can't wait to watch the recording so I can now write all this down. I was watching, I was there with you. So I look forward to the recording. It does make sense.
We're going to start building on this whole brainwave thing. And so even if people didn't do any of the brainwave stuff, it will have impact. But if you're doing some of the brainwave work compared to all the other stuff, it's going to change things.
I can hardly wait to get my oils.
Like here's another perfect example. Here's another perfect example. I say the term healing, right? Healing, right?
Yeah.
Some people are going to think one thing, some people are going to think another thing, some people are going to think another thing, some people are going to think another thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times what people are referring to is like, oh, like I've gone through and I've cleared something from my past. I've cleared a trauma from my past. a lot of times, and this goes for a lot of modalities actually take this approach, they disconnect from it. Doesn't mean release it. It just means it's not in your consciousness anymore. It's in your unconscious. And so people go, well, I've cleared it, but all of a sudden, boom, it surfaces again. It's because you didn't clear it, you disconnected from it, right? So if you think of what we're doing when we're doing the materialization process, what are you doing? You hold it in your heart, you move the energy from the lower centers to the upper centers. You're actually doing the opposite. You're trying to connect to something to a higher or greater degree. So even if you were to do that materialization process on something that you felt was difficult, the way to process it and let it go is you have to get it in the heart. You have to connect to it. Disconnecting is basically just a kind of avoidance. Like, I don't want to deal with that right now. And there's times, I understand, but if you can get it in the heart, you can truly walk away from it. You can truly release it. You can truly, you're basically transmuting it. And so why that materialization process that they've done for centuries, right? That was something that I didn't come up with. That is something that's been practiced for centuries, is so potent, is because we're doing the opposite of disconnecting. If we have a goal and we have prior things that cause us difficulty, we'll go, I'm starting to do this, but I have this difficulty. But now instead of disconnecting, you are connecting to it, and it becomes easier to materialize the goal. And so you're already wired to materialize that goal. The issue is you've disconnected from it. You physiologically, emotionally, and physiologically, mentally have disconnected from past negative things, but even the positive things that you want to bring in, you've disconnected from it. No, I'm not saying just you, I'm saying we've all done it. Everybody's done it, right?
Yeah.
So when we start doing all this brainwave stuff, all the things from the different, like the angels, the materialization, the healing classes, the alchemy classes, it's like it's all coalescing into this thing that is now, you've been working pieces, but now there's going to start being an emergence of something that was even bigger than what we've been talking about. And even if you kind of go, well, I don't really quite understand it, you'll have the experiences where you can say, my body tells me, my mind tells me, my emotions tell me.
Experiential.
I'm sorry, I'm running way
I'm
over.
sorry.
I have
No,
to jump
I
into a
loved it.
meeting.
Thank you. Have a nice class.
Yeah.
Apologize to them for me.
If you
Thank
guys
so
have
much.
any more experiences, share them on Plant Prana Q&A. I'm sorry, I do have to jump into another meeting. I'm sorry, it's always so tight. But
Thank you.
we will talk on Saturday. We'll pick this up on Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Okay.
All right, bye
Okay, you
guys.
guys. Love you guys. I'll
Bye.
talk to you on Saturday.